Neared grebe, water glistening on its plumage, swims and dives.
So my name's Caleb Meese. I'm running for City Council Place 5. And I'm running just because I don't see a lot of representation from people my age. And you know, I don't like the things that are happening, or some of the things that are happening, and instead of just sitting back and complaining about it, I decided to try and do something about it. I'm really interested in how everything works. I love learning. I love information, and I love to get to know people especially. And so I want to get out there and talk to people and figure out what they want to see about Denton.
Soon after hatching, they leave the nest and in the company of their parents, travel about in family parties.
You know, I think there's a lot of reasons. In Denton, one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that a lot of people are still registered to vote in their hometown. And so they either don't vote or they go back to their hometown and vote. It's a difficult situation because, you know, to some people 4 years isn't a lot of time. But in the long run, 4 years is a big chunk of time out of your life, and especially those who are going to be staying here afterwards. They should be able to make the decision. They should be making the decisions for their future. You know, a lot of people talk about we're looking at the future, but no one ever really talks to the future like the younger generation.
Their nests, neat basket-like structures, are securely woven into supporting vegetation.
A Meese future would be a future for anybody and everybody. It's not just about the young people, and it's not just about a certain demographic. It's about everybody in Denton. I love Denton, and a lot of my friends have moved away just because, you know, there's not a job for them here, or it's too expensive. And I want everybody to love Denton the way that I love Denton. I want people to stay here. And so a Meese future is a future for everyone. A big thing that I advocate for is public transportation. I don't think the city has necessarily done bad, but I think that there could be some things that have been done better. I am in contact with a group called Abundance Denton. They advocate for public transportation around Denton. They're a great group, and I really want to push towards a more transportation-focused Denton. A lot of people see the roads as a bad thing, and there are other ways to alleviate the stress of the roads other than just doing construction for 2.5 years that can help that.
In early fall, wintering along the Gulf of Mexico and into Central America.
I think my perspective specifically is that we're too focused on division. And I know probably a lot of people say that, but I think people will say that and then they'll go and divide themselves into different little cliques and stuff. And it just shouldn't be like that. Speaking of my time at Walmart, you know, I did get to see the real people of Denton, the people who go and stress whenever they're shopping and they're stressed and they have kids and, you know, they're just trying to do their daily chores. And people will blame like the price of groceries on a specific person, or they'll blame this on that person. And I think it's really just, we need to come together and do this as a team. You know, we all want the best for Denton in our own ways. And so that may be a cliche answer, but I think that it's a perspective that people say they want and then they don't take.
Well, that takes care of the marsh, all right. But how come no one mentioned me?
So top three are, for me, are gonna be transportation, housing affordability, and helping our unhoused population. And the reason that they're all together in my top three is because I think they all are deeply connected. I think that if you affect one, it affects the other two. And so focusing on those are gonna help, at least in my opinion, are gonna help the majority of Denton residents because it's a wide variety and it helps everybody.
Shortening days and frosty nights bring more geese from the north. Soon now, the final departure.
Denton to me is where I kind of got to finally find myself. I grew up in a pretty, I like to say it's a small town. A lot of people say it's not small, but I grew up in Wichita Falls. And I was, I guess, sheltered. I didn't get to see many different people. I didn't get to see different cultures. I didn't get to see people with different sexualities. And coming from that background, you know, I think I suppressed a lot of emotions. And Denton is where I got to find myself. And I can't speak for everybody, but I think Denton and the people of Denton are just so welcoming that you really get to become yourself. And that's what I love about Denton. And I think the thing to keep Denton that way is to mainly keep doing what we're doing. We just have to make it to where people can live here and have a life here.
Success and protection on their wintering grounds, they are still maintaining substantial numbers.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see a little bit more collaboration. Right now I know that UNT is in a deficit and they're doing things to kind of help dig themselves out of that situation. But I also think that there are some causes from the universities for some of Denton's downfalls, like the housing costs. UNT accepted a lot of freshmen in the past few years, and it's caused many freshmen who used to have to live on campus to find housing outside of campus in apartments, and those apartment complexes get to charge them whatever they want. And so I just think that a little bit of collaboration there would be nice to see. So I originally came to Denton as a music major, and I spent time at UNT doing music. I was in Green Brigade, and I had a lot of fun with that. But eventually, I just kind of decided to swap it up a little bit, and I did that a few times until I landed on political science. And I landed on political science because I saw what was happening in the world and some things, and I just saw some things didn't sit right with me. And so I decided that I wanted to do something to kind of help people or do something that makes me feel good. And being a politician wasn't necessarily it. I never thought of that. But, you know, right now, I think that this is the best situation to kind of get either a foot in or just help the people and the community that I care about. And so I decided to put, I'd say I'm pretty introverted, and I decided to put that to the side and take a step into this world and see how that goes.